Okay, so today's lesson is on chapter 3, page 8. So we're talking about the properties of arithmetic. So we are naming things called properties. You may think of them as rules. This is nothing new in this section. Everything you expect to work will work. We're just going to give vocabulary to what you've been doing. So we're going to talk about the commutative property first. So the word commute means to travel or change. This is most often used in association with a location. So, for example, number 1, which expressions are equivalent? So, is 12 plus 4 is 16. Also, 4 plus 12 is 16. Therefore, these two expressions are equivalent. They use the commutative property. Number 2. So 9.8 minus 3.4. We get 3.4. 3.4 minus 9.8 is negative 6.4. These are not equivalent. Okay, number 3, 12 minus 4 is 8, and 4 minus 12 is negative 8. These are not equivalent. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 5 is also 20. Therefore, these are equivalent. Okay. Number 5. 3 times 0.9 is 2.7, and also 0.9 times 3 is also 2.7. These are okay. 18 divided by 6 is 3, and 6 divided by 18 is 1/3, not equivalent. Okay, what is the pattern you're noticing? Number 7, addition and multiplication are commutative. That means it does not matter the order to complete the problem. So on number 8, in your own words, what is the commutative property? Okay, turn your page to associative property. So page 9. The word associate means to partner or connect. This is most often to describe groups. Each of the following pairs of expressions, the operations are the same, but the consonants have been associated in different ways. So determine if the pairs are equivalent and justify your answer. So number 9, 12 plus 4 plus 6 is 22. 12 plus 4 plus 6 is also 22. These are equivalent. Okay, number 12. 20.9 minus 8 minus 2 is 14.9. With the other grouping symbols, the answer is 10. These are not equivalent. 13. 5 times 4 times 1/2 gives me 10. With the other grouping symbols, I also get 10. These are equivalent. The last one is 14. And we are going to do 18 divided by 6 divided by 3 will give me 3. With the other grouping symbols, I'm going to get 1. These are not equivalent. So, patterns, what you should notice. Addition and multiplication are associative. And then number 18, in your own words, describe what the associative property is. Okay, turn your pages to number 10, the identity property. The identity property has to do with sameness. So we'll need to do the same thing for the addition. Okay, the identity property for addition is 0 plus any number gives you 0. Okay, on number 20, we'll give a few examples. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 2 is 2. You can do this with any number, you will still get the original number. Okay, and 21, in your own words, what is the identity property of addition? So for number 22, the identity property for multiplication should be 1 times any number gives you any number. So we can give a few examples. So if we have 1 times 5, we get 5. If we have 1 times 7, we get 7. It always stays the same. So in your own words, explain what the identity property of multiplication is. So turn your books to page 11. We're going to talk about inverse. The word inverse means opposite, reverse. You might say forward is the inverse of backwards. There's an inverse for both addition and multiplication. So what do you think should be the additive inverse of 3? The additive inverse of 3 is the opposite of 3. Therefore, it is negative 3. Number 26. What do you think the additive inverse of negative 3 should be? All it is the opposite of negative 3, which is positive 3. Okay, that is the additive inverse. When you add them, you will get 0. 27, the multiplicative inverse. That is something that you multiply by to get 1. So the multiplicative inverse of 3, which we can really think of as 3 over 1, is 1/3. You flip the fraction. 1/3 times 3 will give me 1. Number 28, the multiplicative inverse of 1/3. So once again, I just flip the fraction. So I'd have 3 over 1 or positive 3. 3 times 1/3 will give me 1. And so in your own words, number 29 and 30, so 29, what is the inverse property of addition? And in your own words, what is the inverse property of multiplication? Okay, turn your page to page 12. We're going to generalize all of the properties. So the identity property of addition. The algebraic statement, a plus 0 equals a. The meaning, add 0 to a number to get that number. And then you can come up with some numeric examples, like 5 plus 0 equals 5. Identity property of multiplication. I have a times 1 gives me a. Okay, multiplying a number by 1 does not change the number. Okay, a numeric example. 5 times 1 equals 5. Multiplicative property of 0. A times 0 equals 0. Any number times 0 equals 0. Okay, and you can test that with 5 times 0 gives me 0. Commutative property of addition. A plus B equals B plus A. Reversing the order doesn't change the answer. For example, 5 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 5. Commutative property of multiplication. A times B is the same as B times A. Okay, the same thing. Reversing the order doesn't change the answer. So we'll just put that again. For example, 5 times 2 equals 2 times 5. Those are the same. Associative property of addition. A plus B plus C equals A plus B plus C. Changing the grouping doesn't change the answer. For example, 5 plus 2 plus 3 equals 5 plus 2 plus 3. Associative property of multiplication is A times BC is the same as A, B, C. Okay, and changing the grouping will not change the answer. So 5 times 2 times 3 is the same as 5 times 2 times 3. Additive inverse. A plus opposite of A gives me 0. A number added to its opposite is 0. So for example, 5 plus negative 5 equals 0. Multiplicative inverse. A times 1 over A equals 1, where A does not equal 0. Multiplying by multiplicative inverse will give answer of 1. For example, 5 times 1/5 gives me 1.